everyone. In just a second, I'm going to be introducing author Sweta Vikram, and we're going to be talking about her new book called Louisiana Catch. Now, this is her first novel in the U.S. because she's written poetry. She's written 11 other books, okay, but some of them were overseas. But this is her first U.S. novel, and I would be on Instagram and I'd see this picture, and this book called me. Okay. And I'm going to tell you about it when I talk to her, but it was like, read me. So I finally did. I finally got to read it. And there were many reasons why I was so attracted to this book, and her and I will talk about it. So here is Sweta. Hi everyone, I am so excited to be speaking with author Sweta Vikram. And look there's her book, Louisiana Catch. I love the cover, and I loved this book, Sweta. Oh, what a great book. I think we could talk for a really, really long time, so I'm going to try not to talk too much and let you talk, but this was such an amazing book, and like I told you, I'd been seeing it all over Instagram. I swear it was calling me, and I know why, and I'm going to tell you why, but I mean, I just kept seeing it over, and it wasn't just you. I mean, everybody, all my book reviewing people are like, read this book, and then finally I'm like, okay, I'm going to read the book, okay? So I finally did, and I'm so happy I did, and I'm so happy to meet you.
Oh, it is so nice to be here, Michelle. Thank you so much. And you really made my day. It's like pouring outside, and this is the warmest thing I've heard all day.
I know.
Thank you. And I'm so happy to hear that the book spoke to you. And I kind of get what you mean that, when a book calls out and we all have a different connection,
Yes.
It's not the same thing that speaks to different people. It's different things at all times. So whatever it is that spoke to you about this book, I'm just very humbled by it.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to give my favorite quote. And this book, just for everyone out there, book has at least 10 quotes. I stopped it like at least 10 times to like highlight, okay? So I had to pick my favorite, because we could just talk forever about 10 quotes, but we're not going to. So I just want to read, and then you'll see why this appealed to me. It said, "Little did I know that my mother, who taught me everything in life, would not teach me one thing, to learn to live without her." And as soon as I read that, and it's sort of in the beginning of the book, it's pretty much in the beginning. And I just, because my mom passed away in 2011.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
She had cancer, but it was quick. Okay, it wasn't like an extended long, but it was long enough. It was a couple of months from her diagnosis until she passed away. Long enough that you think you're prepared. Now, in this book, the main character is not prepared. Okay, so I felt like, well, I had a little bit of prep. I mean, I took care of her 24/7, and so you know what the end is going to look like. But the day that I found out that she died, it was in the middle of the night, and that day I like functioned all day, right? I have kids. I have 6 kids, and I had to keep it upbeat and, be that person, because she was a huge part in our life. And that night I went to take a shower, and like as soon as the shower water hit, like I fell over, and I was like the reality of just like, what am I gonna do? Like, I made it through that day, but this is like I don't know. It just hit me that it wasn't that I was going to wake up tomorrow and it was going to be the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, I so related to her character, like right off the bat. I mean, everything she went through, and I was older. I was 47, and I was older than she is, but I don't think you ever really recover. I don't know.
I know. I'm with you. I lost my mom in 2014. I started work on this book way before that.
Right.
And I was talking to my editor, and there were just few scenes which she was like, okay, can you write those hospital scenes because we want to see Ahana? And I was like, no, I can't, because that for me is real. And she was like, you have to work through that. So for me, I think that was one of the hardest things to write, because it's like placing myself in the hospital, but thinking like Ahana, not reacting like myself and reacting like Ahana, and not judging Ahana for the way she reacts. So it was so complicated.
Right.
Because this book, it's the whole process has taken 6 years. So it's the characters have had their time to develop a voice. Anna or Rohan, they all do what they want to do. They don't do what, as the writer, I want them to do, which is kind of cool because, and what I mean by that is like they've developed their own voice. So you expect Ahana to behave a certain way or Jay or Rohan to behave a certain way.
Right.
But yeah, so I can totally relate to that. That bit, like that the perpetuality of it, of this loss. And at different levels, on different levels and different moments, it hits you.
Yes, absolutely. Yours is more fresh. I have to say, 2011, now I can talk about her, and like I can still tear up when I talk about her, but it's a little bit more sweet, I have to say.
Right.
And it takes time. And, my father passed away back in 1988, and I find it when I talk to women our age, and I think you're younger than me, but women in our age that are losing their moms, we all say the same, like, if we've lost our dad, we're like, yeah, that's one thing, but there's something about, like, when you lose your mother that it's just like this. And my mom, like I said, my mom was a huge part of my life. We talked every day. We talked 5 times a day, some days. It was just this huge, that I just had no idea. And I really thought she was going to be around a lot longer. So.
And that's what it is. It's like, feels like a sense of betrayal.
Yeah.
Like, how could you? That was my first thing with my mom. How could you? And it's like, of course, this person is dead. And I'm like asking, how could you? How could you die on me? I mean, so the sense of like, no one can, and like to your point, we are born of a mother. So physically, there is this different level of attachment. We've spent all this time in a mother's body, right? So that level of attachment it's hard to explain that you don't share that with anybody else. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes you don't realize the closeness until the mother is gone. Some people have this level of closeness throughout. And when I was developing Ahana's character, it was also because I didn't want my experiences later to taint her character. I wanted to talk to other women. And a lot of them were like, I didn't think I was close to my mom. And then all of a sudden when this happens, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so much like my mom. We did things the similar way. And like, so there's this sense of, oh, I won't get that moment back. Which is also, again, like, goes back to the sense of betrayal. Couldn't you have told me? It's like, the mother-daughter thing. Yeah, you couldn't tell me before that you were going to die and how miserable I was going to be without you.
And it was really weird because when my mom, right before she didn't know, she knew she was going to die, but she was in and out a lot. And so there were only certain times that we could actually talk about what was going on. It was almost like sometimes she knew, sometimes she didn't know. But I remember at one point she said to me, you don't need me anymore. You've got this. And when she died, I was like, no, what? Why did you say that to me? I do not. You were so wrong. Don't you? You didn't even ask me if I got this, and I don't. So, but in my life, what happened is I have 6 children, right?
Okay.
When my mom passed away, my oldest son, his wife got pregnant, and at the end of this year, I will have had 10 grandchildren. They just all started having babies. And and I always think, like, she died, like, she never got to experience that with me. But I did feel like once the grandbabies came, I was, like, stepped into her shoes a little bit.
Right.
A little bit more like, oh, she kind of passed that because it was such a short period of time. And so I did feel that sense of, like, I'm the grandma now. Like, I have to do that,
Right. It's like stepping up, and it becomes a part of your healing.
Yeah.
And it's like when nobody asks of you, but we all turn into matriarchs. So even that role takes a little bit of a time to settle into.
Yes.
I'm like the youngest in my family, and all of a sudden, overnight, I was like complete opposite of Ahana. Everything under control. This is what needs to be done. And I was like, who am I? Like at night, I would tell my husband, like, who have I become? But you pull strength from this place of sorrow, because either you become an Ahana and you completely collapse, or you go the opposite way, which is find that strength and you try to preserve everything of that person left behind, be it emotionally or any which way.
Yeah. Well, and then when I went on your website and I saw how cool you are, and I was
so sweet. Thank you.
I was like, because, you are a yoga, I don't know what you want to call it, like you're a yoga teacher? Or do you have
So I'm a holistic health practitioner. In that, I have a company. It's named after my mom, actually. So my mom's name was Nimmi, which means eyelashes in Hindi. So Nimi Live, and yeah, so she was informally a healer. Like she could cook anybody into wellness. Like in that, like if someone was in the hospital, they would say, "Oh, Nimi, let her cook. The person will be fine." She just knew what the body wanted. I was one of those kids who gained weight when I had chicken pox, just because my mom's cooking was that beautiful. Yeah. So that's why I started the company in her honor, and because food was such a big part of, is still a very big part of our family. So Ayurveda is the ancient healing science, medical science. It's like 10,000 years old. And that also, its sister science is yoga. So I do teach yoga and I practice Ayurveda as health nutritionist. So I have a background in sports, Western sports nutrition, and also a nutrition degree in Ayurveda. So it's like eating according to your body's constitution, the seasons, like watermelon isn't the best thing for everybody, and we just think kale is the best thing for everyone. So, it's customized eating. So, and yoga, breathing, and I also work with rape and domestic violence survivors. So I teach yoga to them.
Right. I was just so impressed because I've been having like all this sinus stuff, right? Like the weather here. For anybody watching, we're on the east coast of the United States, and we have had weird weather. And I went to a massage therapist this weekend. Nothing has worked, and I did get a little relief because she like massaged my face and everything. So I wish I was near you. I'd let you cook me something. I feel like I need to. I don't know. It just won't go away. Like it feels like my head is just like this big, and But
Oh,
I do believe I don't take modern medicine. I don't do Western medicine. If you want to call it Western, whatever. I don't take a Tylenol. When my head hurts, I feel like my head's talking to me. Like I need something. So,
and it's a deeper, it's a sign of your body saying something deeper, like, and it's not just symptoms, it's like the cause. Why is that happening?
right.
Where is that headache stemming from? Is it hunger? Is it exhaustion? Is it dehydration? Time
Right.
alone can't be the answer for all of those, right? And that's in the modern world, that's how we think. But when you step back, like, and of course, Western medicine is beautiful. Like, if there's crisis, yes.
Right.
But if you can just reorganize how we live our lives, and then you can almost like preempt it, you know?
Yeah, I love that. I really do because that's why I went this way. Because I don't reach for, medicine. To me, it just masks what's going on. And I need to know what my body is doing. And, like even when I was giving birth to my children, the last one they thought was going to be a C-section. So they had given me medicine and then they said, oh no, you can have it. And I was like, take all the medicine away then. Because if I'm giving birth, I need to feel like what's going on. And they were like, what? I'm like, they're like, you are crazy. I'm like, I need to hear my body. And with the medicine, I can't. So like you said, there's a certain time, that you need it. But then if I need to like zone in on something, it's like, no, I have to feel this. Like I need, in order to, hear what my
Right.
body's saying, in order to do what I need to do.
Yeah, and I feel like a lot of people approach Western medicine from a very lazy perspective. Oh, I won't take care of my diet, but I'll take something for my cholesterol.
Right.
It's like, why don't we work out a little bit, maybe eat a little moderately so that your liver doesn't have to be that stressed out? So I feel like our ideologies need a little work, like our wellness ideologies.
Yes. Yes. Well, okay. So, and then I was reading about your headstands. And I was like,
Oh,
do you still do you do a headstand?
I do.
I want
And
to see. I could in my youth. I'm 53. I don't feel like I could. Like I'm like, what if something? I don't know. Like I don't know if I trust my body to like get into that upside down position and not like pass out or get dizzy or I don't know. Like so. Tell me why I shouldn't be afraid of that.
multiple reasons. I mean, if you have a regular yoga practice, so few things you want to make sure of. Like if you go to a studio, be around a teacher you trust. And then like your neck muscles need to be strong. The core strength, like the belly strength needs to be like really strong. A lot of people want to do a headstand against the wall. That's something that I would advise against because then you never get out of that. You never get that focus, that confidence in your own body because you're relying on
Right.
something external.
Right.
So it's yeah. So it's like very often what I tell my other clients also like just try a dolphin pose where or just try a simple down dog
Right.
and then start keeping your head around your arms so you start building some muscles around the neck. I mean, injuries happen when we go from like shavasana into headstands, and so age has I don't believe age has anything to do with it. It's just the practice, and it's funny if I let go of yoga for 1 week, my body feels tighter
Does it?
and inside of a week. And when you're doing I practice at least 4 or 5 times a week. I teach 3 hours a week, and I go to my studio to practice at least 4 hours a week. So yeah, that's almost 7 hours. That's not 5 hours. Yeah. But like that, if I'm traveling, I also want to live life. So if I don't have access to a studio, or I've had a crazy night and I can feel it. So and the beauty of Ayurveda is what it tells you, humans are judgmental. Everything is cause and effect. Nothing is good or bad. So if you're not doing something, or if you have that extra slice of dessert or that third glass of wine, doesn't make you a bad person. Then just put up cushions. You might wake up with a hangover, or you might just feel heavy. Stop judging. So I think for me, I'll be going on a tangent, but it's just back. Yeah, it's just coming back to that. It's human mind. We're so self-critical, so judgmental. But no, and one of the yoga classes that I take, there are so many. There are like at least 2 or 3 senior citizens, and I love how they love themselves. It's just so beautiful, and I deliberately go to that class because there is no ego in that class. It's not about how bendy I am. It's about, oh my God, this breath is all we have. That's what yoga is. It's breath. It's not about how you can contort your body. So
I love that, because that was my next question, is like, can you do it for the rest of your life? Is it something that you can, because we start to think as we get older, like, oh, that's for, people in their 30s or 40s, not, for us. So,
I think it's the modern day misrepresentation of yoga, because yoga pretty much is just I think it's a Yoga Sutra too. It's a Yoga Chitti Vritti Nirodha. It's basically yoga is stilling of the mind. So if there's cessation of the thoughts, that is yoga. And there are different kinds of yoga. Asanas are one kind of yoga. Karma yoga is like, going to the soup kitchen or working with the elderly. That's yoga. So there are different forms of yoga. Some people are very cerebral. They read these spiritual books. That's a kind of yoga. So, and there are people who are all into chants and mantras. That's bhakti yoga. So yoga never stops, and yoga is pretty much life. And I think it's just a misrepresentation which we see, because it's all about inversions and bendiness. And when I was much younger, and I was in the same philosophy, caught up in that same world of yoga, and I remember buying a gift card for my husband. And so he came back, and I forgot, I'd got him an advanced class gift card. And I didn't realize that because I was practicing at that level, so I just didn't think, period. And he was like, everybody in the class was such a show off. So it was so funny. He sounded like a kid. He's like, all the men in the class, they were just in the last row. We were just in Shavasana, because he was like, all these young girls, they were just contorting their bodies. And we were like, I can't do that, so I might as well not even do anything. And it stayed with me, yoga shouldn't be intimidating. So, and I think working with rape survivors and domestic violence survivors has also changed my practice, because the vocabulary changes. You're much more kinder towards them, so you're kinder towards yourself, and vice versa. Like, you're not using, there's no music, there's no adjustment, so there's no touching, because it can be a trigger for them. So everything comes from a mindful place. It's you giving them choices instead of saying, now everybody get into a headstand. It's like, I invite you to just breathe. Like, should you want to, I can't even force you to breathe. Should you want to, let your mind wander. That's fine. Just bring it back to where you need to be. So I think it's like just that philosophy. It's amazing. And like last week, one of the clients in the violence, the yoga class for the female survivors of violence, she started to laugh, and I started to cry, because I was like, I've never seen her laugh. And the fact just being on the yoga mat, because the post turned out to be a little funny from her perspective. So she was just laughing in the moment. And it was so beautiful too. And she started to laugh, then others started to laugh. And I was like, this is what is true yoga. You're helping the community. These are women who unbelievably have been hurt by the people they thought they loved.
Right.
And so, so yoga is simple breathing. So you don't even have to get into any of that. Like just doing simple alternate nostril breathing, that's part of yoga.
Yeah, I love that part. I mean, this book was so timely too. I mean, it came out at the beginning. Well, you know what? This is going to come out the day I put it out. I will post this because this comes out April 10th. I just saw the date on there. I'm like, I can put this out on its release date.
Thank you.
Yeah, and so everybody, you will be able to get this book when you're seeing this. So, the conversation right now with women and actually coming out and talking about times in their lives that they've been I don't even know how you want to say it, but I mean sexually abused, but also even I hate to say abused because some people, it's like I look back on my work life and I look back at the men how they treated me disrespectfully as a woman, it didn't even have to be that it was quote unquote abuse, but it was disrespectful. It was very, like talking down and then putting sex in it as a funny, as I can't stand that in the workplace. I really can't. And it's now being addressed in this world that, you can't talk like that in front of me. It's not funny, and
no, absolutely with you.
Yeah.
Absolutely with you. Yeah.
So it's like, I love that. I mean, this is what people are talking about right now. And it's so relevant. It's so awesome that this came out at this time because finally women are saying, you can't talk like that. It's not funny. Whatever you're doing, whatever touching, whatever is inappropriate. And and I get to say no. I get to say no.
And also we have this, just earlier today, I was not arguing, but a little aggravated because someone said, but somebody like Ahana, oh, that's not what violent survivors look like. And I'm like, how can you define what a perpetrator looks like? They don't. They're sociopaths who walk amongst us. Everybody doesn't look like what the perception of a perpetrator is. It's the same thing with violent survivors. It's bigotry if you're thinking you can just put them in a socioeconomic strata. No. It goes all across different geographies, across different stratas, across different classes, everything. Because these are human beings and these are palpable stories. They just present it in a different way. Someone who doesn't know where the next meal will come from will deal with it in a different way versus someone like, Hannah, who comes from a wealthy family. Just because she buys a Prada bag doesn't mean she's hurting any less on the inside. That's the norm for her. Which it's not the norm for me to go to a Prada store and pick up a handbag. It's a thing that I'll work towards and maybe get one, right? But just to stereotype, this is that's not how abuse survivors be. And I was like, that's so unfair to say abuse survivors should behave a certain way. Women need to be given their individuality, and not everybody should have to talk about it. If they don't want to talk about it, that's their choice. If they want to talk about it, that's their choice. It's literally the time to heal. So if people want to take it to the next level, hey, I've been hurt, I've been betrayed, but I want to heal, that's also their choice. Who are we to pigeonhole people what their suffering looks like?
Right. And I loved how you had her dealing with what I call, and I know this term is very vague, but it's the narcissistic, because I know when I was young in the workplace, I didn't really, we didn't know that term for the men, but it's almost like they draw you in and it's like, I'm going to let you be in my inner circle.
Right.
You have the privilege of me talking about you. It was almost like, and then you thought, oh, well, he must, like what I do, or he must like my work because look at what he's saying to me. And then you step back, and that's what I found. I was like, oh, she did that so good, because you step back and you're like, no, that's not cool.
And it goes back to the same thing that people are talking about a lot. Stop telling young girls that if a boy teases you or if he's mean, he likes you. No, that's not okay. That's no way of showing affection.
Right.
We're saying these patterns of abuse, and we think it's cute just because they're 5 years old. No, it's not.
Right. I love that. That is so perfect, because that's what we were told. It's like, oh, well, that's his way of showing it. It's like, okay, that's not a good way to show it. Then you start thinking that that's how you get shown that somebody likes you. I never even thought about it like that, but that's perfect.
Yeah. And affection shouldn't have to be abusive.
Right.
And if someone comes from a place of vulnerability, we are all vulnerable on a daily basis. And depending on what you're vulnerable about and the space and life, we are open to different dangers, right? And so in someone's case, and I'm just thinking like not just Hannah, anybody else, like a younger woman, if these are the ideologies that you've grown up with, and you've grown, what if those are the only kind of men that you're attracted to because you've been told that kind of attention is the affection kind of attention. So it's like these conversations are so detrimental. So I feel like these ideologies have to change at home. Like these small conversations need to be big. Like
Yes.
saying a no, like when the kids are 3, 4, 2, whenever they really start to
Right.
realize.
Yes. And I do you have daughters?
Mm,
Yeah, I have two daughters.
okay, okay.
And, and I always tried to keep that conversation really like, you know, it wasn't as relevant as it is now, but I'm really glad that we had the conversations that we did have back then, as they started to become women and work in atmospheres. And I would say, they would say something about some guys and I'd be like, no, I don't care. Well, he's my boss. I don't care if he's your boss. He doesn't get to talk to you like that. Like, you have to stop it right there, because you don't want them to think that's normal or it's allowed. Because then you start to think any man that says that stuff to you, it's like, oh, well, that's how men are. My mom used to always have that saying, that's how men are. But that's how men, because her generation and what her mom said, that's how men are. So it's like, but we don't have to say that anymore.
Absolutely. It's generational. It's changing. So hopefully by the time and the whole point with the whole Me Too movement now is, women feel like there's a sense of community, even in the stuff like, I am not alone. And there's also like a lot of shame attached, not just to what has happened, but also talking about it. Because, I know a lot of women who've been told, like, you're the troublemaker. You always like to talk about things like these. So you end up feeling very alone. And like there's this sense of isolation. Being a survivor is isolating enough emotionally. And then, you're constantly told, why you? Why not the others? So I think like a movement like this just makes you realize, no, it's not okay. I am not going to explain why this is not okay. It's just not okay.
Right. And that's another thing, not having to explain yourself.
Yeah. I have to share a cool story if you have a moment. So my dad, I'd shared something about Me Too, and it had nothing to do with me. I mean, I'm not a survivor, but I've always been trying to be the voice for others. And I'd shared something about Me Too. My brother lives in Singapore. So my dad was visiting him then, and then I went to India and I saw my dad. So he was like, I saw your post, and I didn't know what this Me Too movement was. And my dad is very active Rotarian, so he's very much into social change and everything. And he was like, so I Googled it, and I'm very proud of you. You should be doing this. And so he had a little clip of all these women in Singapore who were speaking out against what this had happened and like part of the Me Too movement. And he actually had saved like a newspaper clipping for me. And he was like, the days you feel I can't, read this and realize why women want your help and you should be speaking out. And I think that was just such a beautiful moment. And my dad is 72. So, like people, like change is happening. We just have to have more conversations. And social media is great for that. It's bridging generational gaps and, allowing people to really come close in a very healthy sort of way, should we choose to.
I love that. And that's why this book, everyone, go get this book. You're going to be able to get it today because it's going to be up there on Amazon, and I'm going to have the link to it. So all you have to do is press it. But I loved Ahana's story. I loved her so much. I really, really loved her. And this is, just so everybody knows, this is your 12th book. Even though it's your first book here in the U.S., you've been writing a long time. And
it's my first U.S. novel. Like my poetry books have come here.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's your first U.S. novel. So when I looked, I was like, because somewhere I saw like debut novel, and then I went on your website. I'm like, oh, okay, well, it could be her debut novel, but she's written a lot. So,
Yeah.
Do you have, I know like you're doing the press for this one now, but what do you have coming up? Do you have another one in mind?
So I am going to take the time to enjoy Louisiana Catch for a little bit and then start. Like, so the immediate thing was, oh, I should start work on a new book. But then I was like, you know what? I want to see their journey. I've been on the back end creating their lives. I want to share and engage with people. So, there's a draft of a story in my head for the new novel, but I literally have had this and you'll get this as a writer. Like, no, wait, you'll get your turn. Not now. Until summer, we're going to enjoy Louisiana Catch. And it's been, and spend time with friends and family, and just enjoy
The
being,
moment.
yeah, in the moment, and
Yeah.
see where the book takes them.
Oh, that's awesome. Show everybody that cover again because I want them to see it. And I like seeing it because I don't only got to see. Look at that. That is so cool. I've spent some time in Louisiana, and everybody, when you're reading this book, you're going to want to go get beignets because I was like, I haven't been there in 2 years. I'm like, I need to go to Cafe du Monde and get a
Oh man!
beignet.
And if anyone is going to be is in Louisiana who's watching, I'll be at the Louisiana Book Festival on November 10th in Baton Rouge. So I'll be reading there. The books will be there.
I
So
love
yeah.
how you wove the food in there because I was like, yes, yes, I want to eat that. Yeah, because that's all you do when I go, it's a weekend and I eat my way through that entire weekend and then I get back on the plane. I'm like, oh,
I hear you. I have to take pants that 2 sizes larger because I'm like between po' boys and hurricane and
ugh,
beignets and all of that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like swim through those things.
yeah. And only people who have been there understand that you just don't go there and not eat. Okay, it's impossible. You have to
Yes.
eat. So I love that the book was set there and that you brought that into it. But I wish you the best book release day ever today.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'm
Thank you
telling
so
you,
much,
this book
Michelle.
is out there. That everybody's saying read it, and that must make you so happy that people are
It's
saying
been very humbling because you put in all the work and we really don't know what's going to happen. So for me, I think more than anything, it's just important that if it touches someone's life, if someone finds anybody who's reading the book, they feel like, oh, that was a part of me. It makes it human, and that's the most important thing to me. Like the book became human.
yes, it did. Well, thank you so much, Sweta. It was really fun meeting you, and I hope we continue to
Likewise.
talk. I feel like I know you now, and so I'm not going to say goodbye. We will
Beautiful.
say talk later. How about that?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay.
And take good care of yourself, like with this weather,
Oh,
especially.
yeah. Thank you very much. Like I said, all of her links will be under there. You can find her, you can find the book, and we will talk soon, okay?
Take care. Thank you
Okay.
so much, Michelle. Bye.
Thanks. Bye bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching Shweta and I. Wasn't she so sweet? I could have talked to her all afternoon. I knew it too. I knew going into this that her and I were going to have a lot to talk about. And I just want to thank her and wish her the best book release day today. She doesn't need it because everybody is talking about this book. The main character, Ahana, I loved her so much. You're going to love this book. Okay. And especially if you loved listening to her talk like I did, I had so many questions about yoga and meditation and all that stuff. So headstands, I'm going to see if I can do a headstand. That's going to be my goal. But she said not to do it against the wall. Okay. Then we just have to pray I don't fall over. So anyway, thank you, Shweta. All of her links will be listed below here, along with the link right to her book. Go read it, Louisiana Catch.